Because the issue is when Dr. K says some things like...
It's going to be a longer kind of discussion about like why you shouldn't trust him.
Why do you think you shouldn't trust him?
He is potentially dangerous.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, what's up, buddy?
Okay. So, wanted to go over Dr. K, the Dr. K video you watched 2 days ago.
Yeah, what's up?
I wanted to state my position. So, my view, at least as I've understood Dr. K's position as he's outlined it in that video, my view is that his Ayurvedic position offers nothing additional to allopathic modern medicine. And it's also advocating for the removal of certain things that has led to the advancement of modern medicine with really no replacement. And those are the biggest two issues. So as I understand Dr. K's view, his view is fundamentally that diseases are unique in different individuals to the point where you might as well treat each individual presenting with a disease as if the disease is just its own distinct particular disease. Whereas with modern medicine, there is a generalizability. There is like, okay, you may have some variability in presentation. However, there is some underlying process that's going to generalize. It may be variable, but there's some generalizability, and if not, there's some subset group that generalizes within the subset group of a given disease. Okay.
Okay.
And so what Dr. K advocates for is that for since there is a uniqueness to it's just almost all the way, if not fully unique, you might as well just treat each individual as if they're an individual. Treat each disease as if it's an individual disease. And so he makes the point that, well, epistemically, what would be the best type of study is not a randomized controlled trial where you're generalizing from a group to another individual, but if you were to just have a randomized controlled trial on each individual person. Now, we can all agree that at least the sort of thing he's getting at is true there. It's trivially true, in fact, that if you might as well just say, like, well, if you had a crystal globe to see the future for every person, yeah, if we had some sort of technology that could take each molecule and predict the outcome for each individual, then it's going to trivially be true that you are going to know which therapeutic intervention is going to be the best intervention for each individual presenting with a given condition. No shit. Of course, we're not there yet, and we're probably never going to be there yet. We would bankrupt the country for such a thing. We don't have that. And even if we wouldn't bankrupt the country, that's not the sort of thing patients even want to do. Most patients don't want to be in such a study. They just want to get better. So given that that is off the table, the question is then, what options do we have to select for candidate therapeutic targets? Because the issue is when Dr. K says some things like, well, we need to individualize care. We need to just treat people like people. I'm almost at a loss as to how in touch or out of touch he is with allopathic medicine. Because individualizing care is 99%, if not 100% of what almost every doctor
thanks to the
does
5 gifted
in their
subs.
day job. They see a patient. The patient presents with a given sort of symptoms or whatnot. They do testing. Based on the test, they try some intervention. They follow up with the patient. How are you doing? Is it working? Okay, well, if this is working, if the lab tests show it's working, or if your symptomatology improves, we could stay the course. If not, if it's either not efficacious or if there's some side effects, okay, we'll tailor it. We'll change the dose. We'll change the therapeutic agent. We'll go on to something else. That's the day-to-day job. The day-to-day job of doctors is not, sorry, well, the randomized controlled trial actually said that most people, there was a statistically significant increase above this compared to other interventions, so therefore you should get better. Like that's just not what's happening in allopathic medicine. What randomized controlled trials do is they provide not just randomized controlled trials, but the overall system of preclinical studies to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 interventional trials. What they do is they provide doctors with a set of candidate interventions for a given condition. That's the whole point. It's not just so the whole individualizing care thing, I'm not sure what that even adds. This is just what a doctor's day-to-day job is, to individualize care. But the question is, what are you going to individualize care with? Are you just going to randomly select an intervention?
Listen, that's his
The
Discord,
whole
not mine.
point of
okay,
randomized
guys?
controlled
I don't know why-
trials that
I don't know
Dr.
why.
K seems to advocate to get rid of is to provide doctors with a candidate set of interventions to individualize care within the first place, rather than just selecting it out of some other mechanism. And if Dr. K wants to do away with randomized controlled trials,
I kind of like the Discord sounds.
what
Fuck you
he
guys.
needs to do is replace that process. That's the process that has led us to get these candidate interventions instead of randomly picking them out of the hat or basing them on scripture or basing them on tradition. What is his alternative? Is it something which he already said it's not? It's to, just some loose correlation from something that worked for one individual to another? Is it based on some Ayurvedic passage or scripture? Is it based on some Ayurvedic tradition? What is his alternative mechanism for generating candidate therapeutic interventions to individualize care from in the first place? And notice that him saying, well, just treat patients like patients, treat individual disease like individual diseases, individualize care, bro. That's not an answer to the question. Because remember, the question is, what are you individualizing care with in the first place? How are you selecting interventions to treat conditions? What are you starting with? Modern medicine, Western medicine, allopathic medicine, whatever you want to call it, has a process to do this. The process is preclinical studies followed by translational medicine and clinical interventional studies. That is a process that we have that has advanced modern medicine to give doctors that list of candidate interventions. And it doesn't have to be FDA approved. Even they've done off-label treatments. But even the off-label treatments have some data behind it in that form. And so if Dr. K is advocating we do away with that system, and we just individualize care, that's not offering an answer to this question. What are we, if you're advocating we just excise that entire process of modern medicine that has advanced modern medicine to the point where we can do all the things we're doing, what is his replacement? And the replacement is not, it can't just be individualized care, bro. Because we're already doing that. And what he's offering is not even an answer to the question. Individualized care, bro, with what? Individualized care, bro? What's his replacement mechanism for generating those candidate interventions? And what reason do we have to believe that that is any better or any more likely to select from, to give the results for these patients that we want to get, rather than the system we already have?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I disagree with any of that. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just felt it because the way, here's the thing. When I'm watching this video, it's like Dr. K is very well spoken and he has some amount of philosophy background. And so like this point, I suspect that if I were to phrase it like this, the person what was the guy who was Dr. Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Mike would probably want to say all of these things, but I didn't have like the wherewithal to like phrase it that way.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying, was that it felt like Dr. Mike probably has like a good background on like physician stuff or doctor stuff, but I don't think philosophically he was like equipped to deal with a whole different paradigm of what Dr. K was kind of talking about with the Ayurvedic stuff. So I didn't really have a good toolbox to,
Right.
I guess, like question any of it or critically analyze any of it, which is fine. And then you just started basically like asking questions, but yeah.
Right. So to the audience, it might seem like, oh, this is like all very reasonable stuff that Dr. K is offering here. But no, I just want to make it clear.
Well, also to be clear too, because I keep hearing people say this, and I keep challenging people on this. People keep saying that like Dr. K is suggesting replacing Western medicine with Eastern medicine, or replacing, Western therapeutic techniques with Eastern ones or approaches. But I've never heard that clip before. I've never heard him say that.
Well, he said. Well, wait, didn't he say that randomized controlled trials are the worst form of studies, and essentially they shouldn't be done?
I've never heard that. I've never heard anything remotely close to that. No, did he?
Like he said there is. Wait. I'll rewatch the video, but
Avi, real quick, can you you got to turn your Discord sounds off.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry.
Nuts. Why are you getting so many messages? Who's sending you all these talking points? Who is it? Is it the Mossad or?
Well, actually, this was the Julumni IDF-GF perk.
Okay, well, it clearly says in the welcome message to turn off your incoming message sounds so these things don't happen in the future.
Wow.
I'll work on that. I apologize.
That's all right. It's just, you're kind of blowing our cover a little bit here.
Okay, no worries. I'll be better. I don't want to demotion in the Julumni club.
Yeah, going from tier 4 to tier 3? Not good.
Yeah, no. Definitely not. Okay, but then here's the thing: like, if Dr. K is not advocating for excising the current system that we have, which is preclinical studies to RCTs in translational medicine, and so he's not. If he's not advocating, so we'll do it both ways. If he is advocating for that is incredibly dangerous, incredibly stupid, and it's just like that's like one of the worst ideas ever. If he's not advocating for it, then the question just becomes: what what change is he advocating for?
Well, I don't know. I only made it to I watched like 4/5 of the video. There was an extra 20 minutes I don't think finished. But it sounded like he wasn't advocating for any of it. He was just defending. I think he even clarified multiple times that when he goes to Ayurvedic conferences, he's usually pushing for a way more Western approach or way more openness to critical evaluation from Eastern practitioners. But in front of Dr. Mike, because Dr. Mike was attacking the entire concept of a non-orthodox, I guess, way of approaching medicine, that Dr. K was providing like the strongest arguments in favor of an approach like Ayurvedic, or how that approach could offer more value or unique value maybe that allopathic or Western medicine doesn't. Yeah,
so that's what I'm interested in, because like if he's not advocating those things and he's advocating how Ayurvedic medicine provides like a better, or some even aspects of it that provide a better approach, I wonder what that is, because I haven't heard anything said from him.
Well, because I think unless maybe Dr. Mike asks this in the last part, but I feel like the real illuminating question then would just be, can you point to an area where you think allopathic medicine has made, or I'm sorry, where you think that like Ayurvedic medicine has made more headway versus like Western medicine? Like what are some outcomes that we can look at where we're like, oh wow, these people seem to have stumbled upon something here that we weren't able to stumble upon in Western medicine, or that we can't currently stumble upon? I think that would have been an interesting start for a conversation. But
interesting question, but even before that, what the question would be, how is your system different? Because if you're not advocating for excising our selection mechanism, which is the RCTs and whatnot, and all you're saying is we should do something we're already doing, which is individualized care, which we're already doing, then forgetting, even before we get to the question of where has Ayurvedic medicine, as you're defining it, done better, how is it even different?
Can I'd like to just say something here on this front. Ayurvedic shit, and I know when I argued with Destiny about this a little bit, the argument was like, well, you can't, we should study it more. And I was against that idea. But you know what, I'll say this. Fine. If you want to study that shit, Ayurvedic shit, fine. Homeopathic shit, fine. I think it's bullshit. However, what I do think is fucked up is using treatments on people that are not recognized as being effective treatments without having those trials and being like accepted by modern psychological association terms within the why can't I remember the name?
Without doing it at least in a
exactly
trial.
Like for instance, you guys would be really upset if, let's say, I was a psychologist and I was treating people and I was like, listen, I have a very different way of treating my patients that come in with depression. I tell them to smash their face against the wall, quit their job, and start trying to their sister. You guys would be like, wow, that's really fucked up. Why are you doing that? I can't be like, well, listen, I'm a practitioner. I believe in this.
I agree this would be weird, but like, don't we, doesn't this already happen? Doesn't insurance literally cover stuff exactly like this already though? Like, can't you literally get health insurance that covers like chiropractic treatments and acupuncture treatments?
Again, one thing that we said on the show before is that placebo effect can help with pain, right? No one's saying that's not the case. That is like pretty much the only thing it's known to actually have an effect for, both short and long term. That's it. Everything else people like to say, like depression or mental illnesses and things like that, and everything I read said that all of the effects completely drop off after 6 months.
Just to be clear on my position, I am against insurance companies covering that sort of thing unless it's private insurance companies that have already made that pre-arrangement. Like, I'm definitely
it's not a good argument anyways, because if you go to see a psychiatrist, if they're a licensed psychiatrist in the US, your insurance is going to pay for it. It doesn't matter if they're there like giving you a fucking blowjob or actually doing it. Like, if
wait,
you
a
go
licensed
to see a psychiatrist.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but at least they're licensed and recognized as a sort of part of a group that like has been shown in some way by some that
what
system
if you're a licensed doctor,
placebo.
Yeah, if you're a licensed doctor, insurance will pay for a visit to go see them if you have decent insurance. Like, you know, if you have shitty insurance, maybe not if they're not in network, but it's just that's like not a good litmus test for anything.
Sure, but remember, chiropractors are not licensed doctors, right?
So some of them are.
No. Like, well,
you don't think there's anyone that practices chiropractic that also has a OD or an MD?
Much the same that there could be a car mechanic that's also a physician. It doesn't mean that car mechanics are physicians. Like, you could theoretically get the education, but chiropractic and the school of chiropractic and the license for that has nothing to do with the medical system. Like, if you are an MD, it's just incidental. It's not part of the training.
It's the fact has been proven that placebo can help with pain. To be clear.
Right, but
that's not what chiropractors claim to be doing, right? Or what acupuncturists claim to be doing.
Also, we don't have a system where we just cover things just because you're placeboing the pain away. If that was our standard, we would cover anything.
Like me fucking your mom.
No, I think it's not good. I think that relying on placebo for anything is bad, and it's like what all of these fucking woo-woo things do. They all come down to placebo at the end. It's like, oh man, my chakra's fucked up, and you're gonna have me breathe through one nostril and then the other, and then my chakra is gonna be aligned, and I'm gonna do better. That's placebo, okay? Disguised as mysticism, and it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be banned. It shouldn't be paid for by insurance. And the reason I gave yesterday is that people who seek this form of treatment are less likely to seek Western medicine. And I don't want to say ruins, it decreases life expectancy and life benefits as a result. So there you go.
As it pertains to Dr. K specifically, what I find a little frustrating is that there seems to be this Mott and Bailey happening where, like, okay, well, here's your presentation of what you're considering Ayurvedic stuff to be. And it's like, oh, okay, I understand it. It's like, oh, each individual disease is an individual thing. So what the fuck is the point of RCTs then? Because why would there be any generalizability? I get it. So just
there's the joke. What do you call Eastern medicine that works?
Western medicine, yeah. But hold on, before we get to that, but then when it seems like I'm pressing on that, it's like, oh, no, Dr. K doesn't advocate for getting rid of RCTs, even though why the fuck wouldn't he? If each individual disease process is completely different and doesn't generalize, I don't know why he would even advocate for that. What would be the point of an RCT then? But if he's not, but then all of a sudden we're going to this, between this Mott and Bailey, where it's like, oh, okay, no, he advocates for keeping RCTs, just individualized care, which we're already doing. Okay, so then like, it seems like it's just once the pushback happens, Ayurvedic medicine just becomes redefined into what allopathic medicine already is, just not what it seemed to be by some certain audiences.
Just to be clear, it's just me and you arguing here, and we both are pretty much on the same page. Just so you know, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone here disagrees. It's frustrating.
Oh, no, a lot of people disagree.
Okay. No. I mean,
you're talking to a.
I mean, in this call. I'm talking about in this call.
In this call, yeah. There's a lot of Dr. K fans out there.
I'm sure there are.
Okay.
The question to the Dr. K fans listening then is, first off, how exactly is this system of medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, how exactly is this different from allopathic medicine? Let's get that on the table first, so we don't Mott and Bailey this. Like, define the differences. What exactly is it? How is it different? And what exactly is it advocating for that's different from what we are already doing? Because just individualized care, bro, isn't going to cut that.
Yeah. No.
And then what reason do we have to believe that this is an improvement? That's all. That's the first step.
Nothing.
Okay. Anyway.
What do you think? I'm curious. What do you think of, even though you're just a skin doctor, so, we're letting you really fuck it. In your Jalumni Discord application, when you put like Doctor of Medicine, and we look, it's fine. I'm going to let it go, but that's fine. Anyways, listen. Okay.
We do contribute more, though.
I understand. I understand.
There's more new Israeli shekels on my account. Just saying.
Okay. So, in the early 60s, famous study where they had 15 quote unquote neurotics go in, and the doctors all said, hey, we're going to give you guys a sugar pill. And that's it. It's just sugar. And you're going to get better. They told them for the first time that the placebo was being given to them, meaning this is an open placebo. We're not lying to you, right? And of some of those people, some got better. And people now point to the study all the time, saying, because of this is why we should study more of this shit. And when they went back and they looked at it, the people that were positively affected thought that the doctors were still lying in the first place. But I'm curious if you think outside of that study, if there is a benefit into open placebos.
Yeah. So, oh wait, you mean are you asking me, is there a benefit for trials having an open placebo arm?
How do you feel about open placebos today?
Yeah. Wait, that's an even more broad question.
Sure.
Are you asking me if there is
how you feel about open placebos?
Open?
If you asked me, if you said, hey, Dan, what do you think about open placebos? I would say, I think they're bullshit. Completely and absolutely.
Oh, okay. So you're asking me if there's an effect. Okay. Yeah.
The only way an open placebo in my mind works is if I don't believe you when you say that you're giving me sugar. That's my view on the subject of what an open placebo actually works.
Yeah. Or well, in some sense, it may be defined that way, but or if there's like some hope, like some cope in the back of someone's mind, being like, okay, well, maybe this is the real thing. Maybe they're just telling me that as part of the study, but maybe it's really real. Maybe it's really closed. We can speculate on all those things. So, but no, I'm not. I'd have to do a deep dive to disambiguate the difference between a placebo effect as a closed placebo effect versus an open placebo effect. But I can tell you the methodology by which I would look for that. The way to do that, because you're also trying to disambiguate that compared to a regression to the mean. Because some things that are called placebo effects are really not placebo responses. What all they are just regression to the mean effects. And the way you disambiguate that is by having a randomized control trial that doesn't just put someone in a treatment arm, a placebo arm alone, but it puts someone in a treatment arm, a placebo arm, and a non-intervention arm where they don't even give them the placebo. And if the placebo has an effect over and above the non-intervention effect where they're not even giving them the placebo, then you can say it's a placebo effect rather than something like regression to the mean because it was randomized in the first place. That would be the methodology I would use to adjudicate those two different hypotheses.
Do you have any opinion on it right now? If you came to me,
my speculation right now is it may very well be the case that there is something such as a open placebo response. However, my expectation is that the effect size of such a response would be far lower than a closed placebo response.
Can I ask you again, if you're suffering from pain and you come to me and and I'm the doctor here, so you're a pain sufferer for whatever reason, or a depression sufferer, or whatever else is supposedly cured by this.
Wait, I'm suffering or you're suffering?
You are. You're coming to see me. I'm the doctor.
Oh, send me the IDFGF from Jalumni.
So you've come to see me for help because you're in pain. And I tell you, hey, I'm going to give you a placebo. Do you know what a placebo is? And you're going to say, yeah. What do you mean you're going to give it to me? I said, yeah, I want you to go to a McDonald's and take a sugar packet and eat it, and maybe that'll cure that's going to cure your depression. In saying it like that, they remove any effects of you thinking that I'm lying to them. Like, I'm not giving you a pill and you're like, wait a minute, are you actually giving me medicine and saying you're giving me a placebo, but this is actually medicine? You want to make me think I'm doing it myself? You take all parts out of it. Do you think that there's a treatment in that? I've told you to go to McDonald's and eat sugar and that it's going to do nothing.
If there is any residual effect from that, I expect it would be minuscule to the point where it wouldn't be considered clinically significant in any meaningful degree. And anyone who treats someone like that would be doing malpractice, essentially.
I agree. And I think that a lot of things... So, yes, I agree. And I think that homeopathic stuff is in the same vein. It is known to have no effect. It is known to do nothing. The only difference is that people ruin people's lives by preventing them from going and seeing real doctors and getting real treatments because they think that instead getting the homeopathic drop of onion juice diluted 1 billion times is going to somehow do something. And it is known that people who seek these alternative methods are less likely to seek Western stuff. So that's it. So yeah, basically they do harm by existing.
Yeah. The move you just have to be careful about then is there's this move that once you start pushing back on all that stuff, they start to redefine their position into like, oh no, I actually advocate for this instead. And the more you do that, it just it's not even clear how it's any different than Western medicine. It's like, oh, of course I advocate for RCTs. Oh no, of course I advocate for doing this. I just want to individualize care. Like that sort. Be careful about that sort of move. Because then it's just like, well, yes, that gets around the pushback, but the point is that, like, how is your position any different than my position then?
As far as what?
As far as as far as how is their position different than modern medicine, what we're already doing? Because we're already individualizing care and we're already doing RCTs, so what's different here? Be careful about, there's a Mott and Bailey move that happens, Dan. I'm trying to make you aware of that.
Okay.
Where the position is being changed, where it's like, okay, well, are you really advocating for just all these untested treatments, like onion juice diluted to this? And like, they'll be like, oh, no, of course not. What Ayurvedic medicine is, it's not the onion juice, nor is it the tomato paste or anything like that.
Well, I know there's meditation in there, which has value. But I think the other stuff is bullshit.
Yeah, but moreover, I'm talking about the overall system. They'll say, you may hear, oh, well, no, I still think there's a place for randomized controlled trials. It's just that I want to individualize the care. But a move like that is a subtle change in the position, or at least a change from what you thought the position was, into something that it's not even clear anymore how it's different from allopathic modern medicine as we know it. This whole point about individualizing care, they need to actually show how they're individualizing care in a way that we're not. Because individualizing care in the way that was described in that video is just like the day-to-day things that doctors do, which are not randomized controlled trials and extrapolations. No, we tailor things to patients based on how they respond to it all the time. So be careful about that move, because there's a move that, and then if they make that move, just ask them, okay, well then how is what you're saying any different? Forgetting about if your system works better. What is your system in the first place? What are you talking about? How is it different than anything we're currently doing?
Are you talking about the Eastern medicine shit?
Yeah, because the move to be sensitive to is when in response to this pushback, they'll start saying, oh no, that's not Eastern medicine, it's actually this. And then you get to a point where like, okay, well, if that's what you're saying, then that actually sounds a lot more reasonable. But then you have to realize that, well, yes, it sounds more reasonable, but that's in virtue of it not being clear how it's any different than Western medicine. So be careful about that sort of move. Yeah.
Sure.
So the starting point really is just say like, okay, how is what you're advocating for any different at all? Like, and before you even get to why we think it should be better, is there any data on it's better? Like, how is it actually different? And is it different? Like, actually look into whether it is different. Like this kind about individualizing care. Is that actually different between Western and Eastern medicine? Why should we believe that? Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Just wanted to get all of that frustration out. Thank you. All right. Love you both.
Love you, babe. Synecdoche, New York is one of Sam Hyde's favorite movies. I was trying to think where I heard that movie before, and it was him. I had to check that out. Yeah, but the problem is Sam Hyde is like actually like he is actually kind of insane. He's probably like a neo-Nazi or whatever. It's kind of disappointing, but
Hello.
hi, what's up?
Hey, saw the podcast you did that you just uploaded. You were talking about Dr. K.
Yeah, you got like 3 minutes. I've talked to death about this. I don't care. Oh my god, people want to hate him so much, and I just don't care that much about it. But go ahead.
Okay, well, if you don't care, then I'm not gonna really bother because it's gonna be a longer kind of discussion about like why you shouldn't trust him.
Why do you think you shouldn't trust him?
Same reason why you shouldn't trust a doctor who says birds don't exist and it's a government conspiracy. The guy is clearly unhinged and a liar. Even if some of these Ayurvedic practices he recommends, like, that are harmless, that like meditation, even if some of the advice he's giving is good, you just shouldn't trust someone who says some of the things that he says.
I mean,
I feel like
he's
just not a reliable source, and he is potentially dangerous.
Sure, I feel like what I would be interested in is if somebody could link me something, if somebody could show me a clip of him like recommending something irresponsibly, that would be something I'd be interested in. And then I could be like, okay, yeah, this is probably shouldn't be saying stuff like this.
Well, right, and I mean, a lot of the situations that he puts himself in are kind of weird, like with Reckful. He claims to not be somebody's doctor, and he's not necessarily giving medical advice, but then you have Reckful on camera saying, "Oh my god, thank you so much, you're amazing, you've changed my life." Like, there's clearly a weird relationship there, where it's kind of going into the realm of doctor-patient.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, that might have been a little bit too much as possible, yeah. But I'm curious for anything like him recommending like Eastern medicine over Western medicine or anything like that. What? Okay. Oh.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, my Discord.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
But when you're promoting...
Wait a second. Wait, does the audit log tell me if people are being moved from channels? Okay. I don't think anybody's moving him. He's just as a heads up, I don't care if you're Dan or August or Cake or anybody else. If you're moving random people on the channel, I will lose my shit. But I don't think anybody moved him. I think he's just having Discord problems.
All right, I'll try this one last time. If my Discord crashes, then that'll be it. But
yeah, I think I understand. I would like to see like recommendations that he's making that I think would be really bad. It'd be interesting to see that like in video form.
So I can't find any specific recommendations that I would say fall under like harmful. Most of what I've seen him like recommending is stuff like meditation, which are treatments that are harmless and could have potential benefits. What I do think he's doing that is just harmful in general, not to say a specific individual, is if you watch the Dr. K, Dr. Mike debate, he was clearly trying to undermine mainstream medicine.
I don't think he was trying to undermine it. I think he was just trying to provide a defense for an alternative viewpoint and for not just Okay, I watched it. That was my perspective. You're not going to convince me of a totally different perspective because I watched it. But
wait. Yeah. When Dr. K says that Western medicine has not figured out how to personalize medicine, but that is something that Ayurvedic medicine has figured out, solved that problem thousands of years ago, is that not an undermining of mainstream medical, mainstream medicine?
I only consider it undermining if he says that, like, this is why we don't need Western medicine, or we should do this instead of Western medicine. It sounded like what he was saying was that for Ayurvedic practitioners, they have ways of approaching people individually, and that epistemically, that approach shouldn't be thrown out. Now, whether or not the outcomes are better or not, that would be an interesting question, but I don't even think they got to that part of the conversation.
Okay, well, that's a crazy claim in and of itself, because he was saying we need randomized trials for single individuals, which shows that he doesn't even understand what a randomized trial is.
Well, no, he understands it perfectly. That's why he was saying that, like, it's impossible to do RCTs for Ayurvedic treatment. You can't do double-blind placebo RCTs for.
Well,
Ayurvedic
you don't need
treatment.
You don't need double blinding.
You can't do random control trials for it or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, you can. It's just that it can't be placebo controlled. There's plenty of randomized trials that aren't placebo controlled.
Okay, maybe then. Listen, argue with him about it. Okay.
Okay, fine.
All right. I'll be back.
All right, we'll take care, dude.
Bye.